Good afternoon. The weekly outlook. So far, I'm seeing there is a rejection of point of control on the NQ, but it did not fell through. It did not create a lower low. As far as right now, if those lows holds, that would be considered a higher low. There is these to me looks like equal highs. I mean, they're more prominent on QQQ. But as far as I'm concerned, these are a target for the coming month. There is a possibility that if we, keep closing series of higher lows and lower highs and fail to break the previous higher high or swing high rather, that we are going to aim lower. But as far as I'm concerned, that's my max pain, 694.49. That's my max pain for where the bulls are not going to be able to push it back up. But so far, I mean, it looks like we're in a just consolidated trend. It's mean reversion, so to speak. There is equal highs over here, and it's full of liquidity. So I still think that because we on Friday that we closed on a somewhat bullish recovery, we're likely to go and attempt to test these. And I think the next retest of point of control, especially on ES, because if you look at NQ, NQ has not hit the 200T in a while, but also it's closing within the left shoulder. So those bodies are well above the lows of the left shoulder, while on ES, the bodies have closed below, and it is like 396. It is closed below. So one of the two is ahead and giving us the trend for the coming week. Now it's either NQ's lagging behind and it's going to fall through and retest the 200T, actually retest it, or ES is basically weaker and has just fell through because it's not fed with all the tech. But one of the two is ahead, is telling us what the coming price action is going to be. That's where I'm in a waiting game. I'd rather wait, do small scalps instead of aiming for the big swings. But so far, I think ES might be the one that's right. I still want to I still want more answers, but it's giving it's giving significant hints that ES might actually continue falling. Now, based on DXY rallying, that also is adding pressure to the indices. I mean, it did break lower high, and it did finally cross above the 200T. So that can also continue. It might also retest 100.7 and then find support there. But I want to see if the dollar adds continue adding pressure to it, and then we end up in these 104 range. So far, it just looks like the dollar would be adding pressure. As far as VIX, it failed to remain above 20. If we do go back up, VIX goes back up above 20, it's likely to aim for another spike. If not, if this stays within the range, we're likely to come back down 16.5, maybe 16, maybe 15, somewhere there about in this range here. But as far as I'm concerned, it failed. So that's one of my bullish sentiment. Uh, the the equal highs will be filled eventually. Now, is it going to be within this month? It's likely. Obviously, if we don't create a lower low, I don't think we're gonna just lose all of this within the first couple days because it is a short week, right? So because it's a short week, every short week the move happens very quickly in the week. It happens at the beginning of the week. So I would watch the reaction off of futures, the future open in roughly 30 minutes and see where the gap is and see what Asia and London are doing. That's going to give you the sentiment for how far up we might go intraday. But I still do believe that we are going to see significant volume at the very beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday. Monday, there's no news for New York. It's all abroad. But on Tuesday, I do believe we have some data coming in. So I would still be very careful and wait for once we break above, if we break above the 20T, we're likely to continue higher and try to go fetch this swing high over here. But that is our resistance for the time being. These are still there, but we need to break through this resistance 725, 720, 730 resistance first. If we do bounce as soon as we hit those, then we might be in another lower high, and the lower high would lead to a lower low. But the candles is like the bodies of the candles are not closing below the range. So again, that's another bullish sign where those candles, those bodies are not closing within the range. They're closing below, like they're wicking below, but they're not closing below. And every time that happened, there's an there's an upside to the next day. Every time. That's just how it works. And then once it closes below, you can expect the upside to fail to create a higher high and fall through into a lower low, the wick, but not in the bodies. So I'm looking at both, and they're both the exact same. Now, technically, because of MU earnings that were significantly good, we should have continued here. We should have, but the body failed, leading to a complete sell off. So I want to see if there's buyers that are going to come in here and throw a bid so that we can actually go back up. But if we don't and we start closing the body below, that means we're likely to go aim for these lows here. So that will be where my short would start. And then that's going to tell us that ES is actually the one valid for the kickoff of the trend. And ES is likely to go for a lower low. Beside that, the main indicators are still consolidating. If we do break below 611, obviously we're probably going to retest support again. Here, that's the main order block. If that main order block does not form support, obviously we might come back down 65. Pretty sure we're going to be retesting 65 if we get short bids from this area, from the 70 area. If that's so, that would be where I would see buyers come in. Beside that, that's same thing here for the MAG ETF. There's still a gap that's not filled. Could we go like below if we fail to break resistance? Yes, that's pretty much the target. It did stop right at an RL. Also, this, could be the top from this week. So just it'll range between here and here this week is my guess. That'll happen very quickly. It'll happen at the beginning of the week, and that's usually where we get all our money and then, go about our days. But there is a spike. That's a spike of volume. I can see a reversal because of the spike. So that's another bullish sign. Actually, yeah. That's also, oh, this one was actually bullish. Yeah, okay. So it's the opposite. The spike leading to bearish trend. And that was pretty significant. So we could actually be looking at filling up the gap over here. So be very careful. Because, yeah, that is a bearish sign. That led to gap fill from this one here, and it did fill. And then on this one here, it did attempt into another fill of these. Though this one, well, there was a bearish one here leading to the trend. So yeah, I would still watch the resistance over here. If we can't break that resistance, then that spike is confirmed to be bearish, and we're likely going into this range over here. Probably fetch this liquidity over here. So yeah, yes might be the one that's telling us that it's bearish. But again, if you go to SPY, this is all a swept. It swept all this liquidity down here into a reversal. So again, there's probably a potential of testing some of those highs and try to get out of this range here, maybe into 741, 739, 740-ish area. It would have to close above 20T and continue getting bids, but that's what I'm looking at. Like that's what I'm waiting to see. If it closes above, get some bids, it continues, and then the next day open, boom, it just rallies up. I want it to close above 20T, and then after that, I'm gonna be more bullish. But for now, it looks like a sweep. I just want it to be confirmed to be a sweep because we are at the lower monthly expected move, which is it's right there. So I need confirmation before I go wild. We're still below gamma also, so that's another thing. Like we're below gamma. We got to be careful. It's selling to selling. and then buy into buying. So if this is a true sweep, then we're gonna buy into buying, and then we should push back up. But yeah, that's all I have for this week. I'm still looking at these targets. You have these nice equal highs here at 90. If anything happens, if the pause doesn't lead to uh, a true, if the pause doesn't lead to a true deal with Iran, obviously the Strait of Hormuz is going to close again, and then oil is going to get bids, and these are going to be our target. I'm pretty sure these are going to be filled by the end of August for sure. So that's another bearish. Uh, like there's too many. There's bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish. Which one's right? Because it's so all over the place, I am not in the mood to swing these trades. I don't think that it's a proper time to play heavy size and to aim for very far targets. So until oil breaks above 200T, I'm going to be bullish on indices. But if it starts, closing above 70, going back 71, I'm going to start being bearish on these indices and then start, thinking that point of control might actually become support. And then if it does, then I'm going to look for this liquidity over here. But there's buyers, there's buyers all into this range here. So just be careful, guys. It's a short week. Play it accordingly.